Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the best projects you can tackle in your kitchen, sourdough. But we're going to make it super simple. I'm going to show you how to create one single master dough that can become either a perfect crusty loaf of bread or an amazing chewy pizza crust.
So let's get right to it. Is this even for real? Can you actually use the exact same dough to get two completely different, totally delicious results? Oh yeah, you absolutely can. Sourdough is incredibly versatile, and today we're going to break down the exact steps to prove it, and it's way easier than you think.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about the heart of the whole operation, your sourdough starter. Then we'll get our hands dirty and build our one master dough. After that, the real fun begins. We'll explore the two different paths it can take, one to a classic loaf and the other to pizza night. And we'll wrap it all up with some essential pro tips to make sure you nail it every time.
First things first, let's talk about the engine that drives all sourdough, your starter. You gotta understand, this isn't just another ingredient. It's a living thing, and it does all the heavy lifting for you.
So what is this stuff really? Well, think of it as your own little pet ecosystem of wild yeast and good bacteria. You just keep it alive by feeding it flour and water. This is what's going to make your bread rise, and it's what gives it that signature, tangy, complex flavor you just can't get from a packet of commercial yeast.
But how do you know when your starter is ready to work its magic? It's easy. Just look for three key signs. First, it should have at least doubled in size since you last fed it. Second, it'll look really active, bubbly and alive. And the final, foolproof check? The float test. Just drop a little spoonful into a glass of water. If it floats, it's packed with gas and it is good to go.
Now that our engine is all revved up, it's time to build the master dough. Remember, this is the one recipe, the single foundation that's going to lead us to both amazing bread and fantastic pizza.
It's really just a four-step process. We're going to start with what's called an autolyse. You just mix your flour and water and let it sit for about 30 minutes. This little trick gets the flour fully hydrated and makes the dough way easier to work with. Next, you mix in your active starter and some salt. Then comes the strength building. But forget kneading. We're going to do a series of stretch and folds, about 4 sets, 30 minutes apart. This gently builds up that gluten structure. Finally, we have bulk fermentation. You just let the dough rise until it's about doubled in size and feels airy and jiggly. Now here's maybe the single most important rule in sourdough baking. Watch the dough, not the clock. There's no set time for that last step. If your kitchen is warm, your dough might double in 4 hours. If it's chilly, it could take 8 hours, maybe even longer. You have to learn to read the dough. It will tell you when it's ready. Okay, so once your dough has doubled, you've officially reached a fork in the road. This is the magic moment. Path 1 takes us to a classic loaf. That means we'll need to shape it, let it proof overnight in the fridge, and bake it in a hot Dutch oven. Path 2 leads to pizza, and this one is way more laid back. No final shaping needed, a long, super flexible cold ferment, and a quick bake on a hot stone.
All right, let's head down path 1 together and turn this beautiful puffy dough into a classic crusty sourdough loaf. This part is all about technique. First, you're going to gently shape the dough into a tight ball. This creates surface tension, which is what helps it rise up nice and tall in the oven. Then it goes into a floured basket for a cold proof in the fridge, usually overnight. This step develops incredible flavor and makes the dough firm and easy to handle. Right before it goes in the oven, you score the top with a sharp blade. This tells the bread where to expand, and then into a screaming hot preheated Dutch oven it goes.
Now the secret here is the two-stage bake. For the first 20 minutes, you bake with the lid on. The Dutch oven traps all the steam coming off the dough, creating this perfect humid environment that lets the bread spring up to its full potential. Then, you take the lid off for the last 20 to 25 minutes to get that gorgeous, deep, golden brown, super crispy crust we're all after.
All right, let's rewind and take path number 2. This is where sourdough becomes the ultimate flexible, make-ahead meal, pizza. And honestly, I think it's even easier than making the loaf. And this timeline right here perfectly illustrates the magic of sourdough pizza. You can mix your master dough on a Monday, pop it in the fridge, and basically forget about it. It will just hang out, slowly fermenting and developing insane flavor all week long. Come Friday, it's ready for pizza night. Zero stress, zero rush.
So why do this? Well, that long cold ferment does some amazing things. It creates a deep, complex, tangy flavor that you just can't get any other way. The dough can stay happy in your fridge for up to 10 days.
The sourdough culture also breaks down the gluten, which can make it easier to digest. And maybe best of all, you can portion it out and freeze it so you've got pizza dough ready to go anytime you want. So we've covered the two paths. Let's finish up with a few golden rules that'll make your entire sourdough journey so much smoother, whether you're making bread or pizza. Okay, these are non-negotiables, so listen up. First, sourdough is sticky. Fight the urge to dump flour on it. Instead, just get your hands a little wet with water and the dough won't stick. Second, and this is the hardest rule of all, you have to let your bread cool completely before slicing. I know it's torture, but if you cut it while it's hot, the inside will be gummy. Third, never ever throw away your starter discard. Use it to make amazing crackers, pancakes, or waffles. And finally, keep your starter small. You don't need a giant jar of it, and a smaller one saves a ton of flour.
And there you have it. One simple master dough that opens up a whole world of delicious possibilities. You've got the complete roadmap, from starter all the way to a finished bake. So, the only question left is, what are you going to make first? A crusty loaf of bread or a perfect pizza for dinner?